Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the I Work in Sports live interview. This is the show where we talk to accomplished sport business professionals who come here to share their knowledge, experience, tips, and advice in order to help you succeed in your career. If we're just meeting, my name is João Frigerio. I'm the founder of I Work in Sport, and I want to thank you for being here with us today. If you're coming back, you know the drill. Let me know where you're watching from, right? Write in the comments if this is your first time here as well. Please let me know where you're watching from. And also, you can write there that this is your first time. And if you're watching the replay, leave something in the comments as well. Let me know what you think. And we read all of them and we reply to all of them. If you don't know I Work in Sport, we are a platform to help you accelerate your career in sport. One of the ways that we do that is by organizing the most important and only international career fair for sports, the I Work in Sport Job Fair. This is the video that you saw just at the start. That will take place in Lausanne on June 2nd. Here you see that many organizations will be there recruiting, and there will be presentations. So don't miss it. If you would like to know more, there's a link in the description. Check that out. And also, if you'd like to connect with like-minded professionals and to have access to some exclusive content, such as weekly career coaching sessions, I invite you to join our community, weworkinsport.com, because it's a community that we call weworkinsport.com. There's a link in the description there too, so you're invited to join us there. And obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, I will ask you to hit that like button. You know, it helps us out. If you enjoy this content, if you're coming back, I also invite you to subscribe to the channel. Now, let me introduce you to my guest today. I have the pleasure to welcome a good friend of mine, but this is not why he's here. It is partly because he's here. I like him very much. But Matías Tettamanti is head of club competitions at CONCACAF, the Football Confederation of North America and Central America and the Caribbean. Has a very interesting career in sport, very inspiring actually. Just wait to hear a few stories from the World Cup and you know what I mean. He's also a fellow alumnus of the FIFA Master program, and I bet he has very interesting stories about that too. So, I mean, without further ado, let me find Matias here to join me right after this. Grande Matias, welcome. Bienvenido. How are you?
Hello, Joao. Thank you for having me. It's an honor, a pleasure to be talking to you. As you said, a friend. Thank you for the introduction, and of course, talking about what we love the most. You know, our jobs, our daily jobs in the sport.
Great, man. Great to have you here. Just before we start, let me. There's already some comments here, just so you know who's watching us. Vaibat Singh, I don't remember where you are. He's in Great Britain. We have Adil in Trinidad and Tobago.
All right.
Valesca Castillo is saying hi to us as well. There's a hashtag CONCACAF gang here from Adil. Everybody else watching this now, if you want to also post in the comments, let me know where you're watching from. Matias, man, this is a show about a career in sport, right? So I think a good way for us to start is if you can maybe give us a summary of your career. Maybe you can even tell us what you studied. I mentioned the FIFA Master, but what you studied before, and how did you actually get to work in sport? Let's start there.
Thank you. Well, that's a deep question because I feel like my career in sports started when I was 7 years old, when I convinced my father to go to watch a Libertadores game in Argentina, It was River Plate playing at Vélez Sarsfield, and I have to say that, of course, experiencing that first match with my father actually opened my eyes and of course drive all the passion that I have for what I'm doing today. And after that first experience, of course, I was engaged with the sport, with football, and wanted more. I wanted to share more experiences like that with my dad, because it was a good connection point that we were experiencing together. So after that, eventually more football came my way. Then at age of 16, we moved with the entire family to the United States. And of course, I start, trying to find my path. I originally wanted to be a sports journalist back in Argentina, but eventually, because of the language barrier that I encountered when I moved to the United States, then I started exploring other alternatives, where I decided to go into marketing and advertising on the business side of it. So I went to University of Florida. I studied there, and
You studied
simultaneously
marketing.
I studied marketing and advertising. So that's my background at the university level. Simultaneously, I was always being very active when it comes to sports. I didn't have the good qualities of to play football. I was not good enough, so I decided then to be more of a rugby player, which is my other passion, which I've been playing since I'm 7 years old, and I had the opportunity to play at a professional level. Of course, in the United
US?
States, in the US, I was able to play in the collegiate level, which was a high level. And then when I graduated, thinking that I was going to get into an ad agency or marketing company, into the business world, I told my family, I'm not ready for it. I want to continue playing rugby. So
Nice.
I was scouted, and I went to play for one season in New Zealand. So I went to play in the New Zealand, an amazing country, amazing people. Of course, that's their national sport, so very welcoming to me, where I get to play the sport that I love the most. And then
I imagine that you must be good to play in New Zealand. It must be much more difficult in playing the US.
yes, it's very physical. Rugby in New Zealand is very physical. Thank God I had some skills. I have to say I was quick to avoid the big guys coming at me and tackling me, so I was able to get through them. But eventually, it teach me a lot of self-discipline. First time that I was really away from my family in another continent, and it was really committed. And it was tough. It was a tough experience, but I learned a lot from it because of the values that sports gives to you, which I also applied on my daily activities at work, even today when I'm in football. And then eventually the opportunity came while I was in college, while I was playing rugby. I always was very curious about CONCACAF. I was like, what is CONCACAF, right? We all know about the FIFA world, but I start, getting to know myself a little bit more and educating myself a little bit more about CONCACAF. Which I happened to met the director of operations in Copa America back in 2007. So I was able to get in touch with them and learn more about it. And to my surprise, they were building the new HQ in Miami at the time, with the aim, of course, of focusing on marketing, advertising, TV, which was what I studied. So I was like, perfect. I am the perfect fit for it.
Because before CONCACAF was based where?
Sorry?
CONCACAF was based where before Miami?
Before it was in New York. It was in New York City. So the idea was to keep the HQ in New York and then build the commercial arm of the Confederation in Miami. But 2 weeks after in the job, I was called to do the World Cup qualifiers for the FIFA Women's World Cup, Germany 2011, which it was taking place in Cancun. So I was deployed for 19 days there, and I fell in love with the competition aspect. Of course, I knew little about it, and then I started.
Thought you're gonna say that you fell in love with Cancun.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, but it's a tough market to work in when you're focusing on the competition. For those that know what it takes to deliver a competition, you're busy 24/7. So no distractions allowed. But yeah, it was a great experience. And from there, we're still building, the competitions team in CONCACAF. So I was there for 3 years in the competitions team as a manager and learning all the ropes. And of course, we have a new administration coming into the Confederation. And I thought that it was a perfect timing for me to actually now dive into more of the sports world. And I was highly recommended by a good friend of mine, Andres Portabella, who I'll say it's my padrino, and the reason why
El maestro.
El maestro Portabella, why I decided to go and do the FIFA Masters, which for me was an amazing experience. It was an eye opener. I learned a lot, not only from the academy, the faculty, and the amazing professionals that they come and teach at the FIFA Master, but also because of the colleagues and the friendship that I was being able to build throughout the year, which was an amazing experience. And then, the world is yours. You turn in your thesis, and then you start like looking around. Okay, what's next? And there was another, crisis in the sports of football, which we all know. And there was a third administration coming in place. And I really have all my doubts on what to do next. But thanks to the FIFA Master, it opened my vision, and I decided to go back to CONCACAF, back to Miami. And I was the head of special projects for about a year or so, assisting our general secretary at the time. And one of my special projects was club competitions. How can we enhance and develop the club side of the organization, which was pretty much untouched. So we started building a team, jointly working with the development department, focusing on the club licensing aspect, professionalization of leagues, and how can we enhance that. And we start developing a new competition, which is the one that we're currently playing here today, where I am right now in Philadelphia. We're playing the semifinals between Philadelphia Union and LAFC, which I'm going to show you afterwards where I'm at. But again, pushing and sharing the vision within the organization, and creating that bridge of what we are here today, which we're going to be, of course, now developing even further. The next step, we're going into phase 2 of our club competitions in CONCACAF with a brand new competition starting in August already, right? So we're very excited about it. It's kind of like seeing what you studied, applying all your knowledge, and now bringing it to life, which is the exciting part of what we get to do on a daily basis.
And what can you say about this brand new competition?
Well, this brand new competition, eventually we have put a lot of thought behind it, a lot of consultation. We have been talking a lot with the main key stakeholders, which are the clubs, the leagues, and our member associations in the Confederation, and how can we put an even much more attractive competition in play. So we have, structure our sub-regions. So we have, in the fall, we're going to start with the Leagues Cup, composed of the 2 leagues from the north, the MLS and Liga MX. Then we have the Central American Cup, which is 100% composed of all the best clubs from Central America, the 7 nations that represent Central America. So a total of 20 teams will be participating in that. So we're bringing back now the rivalries in Central America, which is very rich in football. And we want to continue developing that and cultivating that, because we have a tremendous potential in Central America as well. And of course, the Caribbean as well, with the Caribbean Cup. So now when it comes to the Caribbean, we're doing even further developments, because we're going to be able now to provide the Caribbean clubs a competition that it looks and feels like the Champions League for them, with a home and away format. So with that competition, of course, now we're going to have the best clubs going into a knockout format, which we're going to be renaming. Right now, we call it the Champions League. Everything is going to be changed. We have a new brand, new music. I don't want to already spill the beans, but a lot of good news are coming from CONCACAF to the world this coming month. So touching points on of a new and holistic new club ranking system that we have been building together with many important key stakeholders. New prize money, of course, we understand that financials are very important for our clubs to continue growing and developing, and the retention of talent on this side of the world, which is what's our focus is on. And of course, the competitive factor, which it's been proven for those that have been watching this current Champions League. It's been outstanding. Last night we had a great game in Monterrey between Tigres and León, and tonight I don't think it's going to be any different between Philadelphia Union and LAFC, which there are.
So yesterday you were in Monterrey as well?
No. Yesterday, I was not able to make it to Monterrey. I decided to come to Philadelphia since I want to meet the team. I haven't been here in a while and get to know the Philadelphia Union. And next week I'll be in León, getting to be with the León and with all the return leg matches that are going to be already defining the finalists for this specific edition. It's a special edition because we're going to have, for the first time ever, the final will be played on the weekend. So we're also making those steps towards the new format of the upcoming competition. So
very nice.
Exciting times.
Nice. I was going to ask you what's a normal day for you, but it doesn't seem like you have one regular day. Seems like you do different things every day.
It's very hard to answer. I mean, even if you try to ask my wife, she probably don't even know how's my schedule looking like. But for example, today I get to be, here at the home of Philadelphia Union. This is my office for the day. Okay,
this is your office. Nice.
Doing the final touches. I can show you here. The branding is on point. Everything is getting ready. We have a kickoff at 9 p.m. local time. So it just varies, right? I like to be always close to where the action is going to be taking place. That's where I like to be. But of course, when we don't have competitions, we are back to the drawing board, back in the office, back with the team, getting all the feedback, constructive, criticism to ourselves, and how can we make ourselves better? How can we make what we do better? Not only for the clubs, but also internally, and that's key. That's key as well because I like to empower the people that I work with, and I think that you're as good as the team that you're playing with, right? So that's a key aspect of it. So it's a combination, right, of everything. And I think that also after the pandemic, what I think one of the lessons that we learn is that you need to have a good balance between work and your personal life. So it's important to balance that. I like to recharge a lot with my family and really be of enjoying those times as well, because then the rest of the time I'm close to the field of play or in the office thinking about football.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of people that would really like to have that lifestyle as well. Before I go, I want to ask you something else, but I also want to give you a sense of people that are watching. There are some people saying hi to you here. Hamza is in Belgium. Here's probably a countryman for you.
Yes.
Federico Fornari from San Luis, Argentina. Pav is in England.
Nice.
Erica, the beautiful Erica, is in Neuchâtel today. Hi, Erica. Michelle is watching in Germany. There's also Francisco saying hi. Didn't say where from. And Jesus, he's always here with us, watching from Rennes, France. And if you still also want to say where you're watching from, don't be shy. And don't forget that you're invited also to ask Matias questions, about his work, about his career. And Matias, what I would like to know is, you painted a very good picture of your job, and there's so many things that you do. Do you have a favorite thing? Is there a favorite part of your job? Is there one thing that you like the most?
Well, there are many things that I like about what I do, because in order for us to keep up and be motivated on a daily basis, of course, you have to have that passion that drives you every day and wake you up from your bed. But what I like the most about my job is the people that I work with. I think that I really enjoy working with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, because you get to learn a lot from them. In just a simple conversation, you get to know not only them but also where they're from and their background as well. So, and it's nice to see everybody that is watching this interview from all over the world, right? And
Yeah.
it's nice to have friends and also an extended family as well, because with my colleagues at work, we spend so much time together that at the end of the day, they're like my other family out of home. So that's, I think, what I like the most.
Yeah.
Really working with that quality people that share the same passion. And when we all get together and we combine our thoughts and visions, I think we can do so much together, because the talent is there, and we can achieve what we probably dream about when we're little kids. So doing it's very encouraging. So saying that I work in football is kind of like unreal. I say that I live football, because working, it doesn't feel like you're working in football. There's not a single day that I probably go, oh, I need to go to the office now. No, I always go, and
Right.
even the days that I don't have to go, I go, because I like the atmosphere, the interaction with my colleagues, and we know that every day there's something new coming our way.
Right. Listen, and we obviously have people watching that are interested in possibly working at CONCACAF. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But actually, have you ever stopped and tried to look back and try to understand, what were the skills that you have that's allowed you to thrive in your career?
Yes, I think. Well, there's one skill that I think it's important to have, especially in the fast-paced industry that we all work in, is being able to adapt. Adaptability, and being flexible with our projects, because I feel that we cannot go with one vision, one mindset, and then just think that that's going to be the right path. Being flexible, being open, and having that adaptability capabilities to what your colleagues are, also pitching in. It's important, right? We
Hmm.
work in a global world, right? We've seen best practices. However, those best practices might not be to the region that we're in. So there's always ways of being able to adapt your ideas and as well yourself, right? And then and with that, it comes a lot of patience. I think that learning to be patient with yourself in this fast-paced world that we are in, it's important, right? Sometimes we think that
Right.
we can turn in the key and already the engine will go on, but there's a lot of things going on behind that engine, and all the mechanisms that needs to be really well put into play and thought behind in order to be able to work things properly. So I think that being able to be flexible, that adaptability factor that I mentioned, and being patient with yourself as well, and with your projects. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you have examples sort of that, because I was also thinking, because I know of many of your successes, and we're going to talk about that as well. But obviously, there's many difficulties, and whenever we're in big projects, there are bumps on the road. So, is there a big challenge that you remember that's kind of got you scared, or you thought was
Absolutely.
very difficult to overcome? And maybe if you did, how did you do that?
The most difficult year that I have in my more than of a decade in sports was when we had the COVID in 2020. The world was in panic. We of course needed to adapt to the new circumstances of the events, and of course we want to bring football back, right? And with that, there was a lot of risk, a lot of hesitation on how we're gonna do this, and a lot of pressure as well on us to be able to bring the sport back at the international level, not just domestically. I'm talking about international level, where it implies all the traveling and all the logistics, which was a chaos back then. So we really internally we really have to put a lot of thought behind it. I had to learn a lot about COVID health protocols. We have to develop all those return to play guidelines from scratch. A lot of consultation. So it was kind of like being back in the university. Learn a lot from it at a very fast pace, because every week there was something new, and work with the team towards the objective, which for us was to be able to play the Champions League. Right, we started the competition. We were already in the quarterfinal phases in March. The world shut down on that March 11th here in the United States. When the NBA say no more NBA, everything shut down here, and we still have games that were supposed to be taking place. So we put a full stop in March, and then we'll resume the competition in a centralized venue concept in December. So during that period of time, we really need to do a lot of work, which was not easy. Even my colleagues today, they were reminding me of all the amount of work that was behind in order to put a centralized competition, to make sure that we have a guaranteed success rate, which was very, very difficult to predict, because everything, I mean, this virus was invisible, and there was no way of managing it. But with all the protocols that we put in place, with every talented professional that was part of that project, we're able to deliver a flawless competition. We didn't have a single COVID case in the bubble that we created in Orlando. That's where we deliver the competition. Until today, for those teams that play in that competition, they say it was the best experience they had in their international careers, because they were focused on the competition. There was no distraction, and everything was very, very well planned. Of course, execution was a success thanks to the planning phase and all the protocols that we put in place. But I think that was the most challenging. I thought that I was not gonna be able to probably overcome this. It was, I mean, and sometimes we make mistakes along the way, right? Because we're learning. We're learning,
Of course.
and it's okay to make mistakes, because I have to say, I did probably made a mistake, and from that mistake I learned more than all my flawless executions in other competitions. And thanks to that, I think we were able to get at the end of the year and say, okay, we achieved and we delivered the Champions League, because we needed to qualify teams to the FIFA Club World Cup back then.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Matias, and are you involved in recruitments for your team? I don't know exactly how many people you have in club competitions who actually come and work with you. And if so, I mean, what are the skills that you normally look for? Is that those similar to yours? Is that those complementary? And just before you answer that, because there's a question already more or less about that topic, Francisco Narvaja says, any tips about applications to CONCACAF? So tell me about, I mean, if you recruit people, what's the recruitment process like for you? And maybe
Absolutely.
a tip for Francisco.
So right now in CONCACAF, it's an organization that is growing tremendously. We're doing a lot of development, a lot of competitions, a lot of initiatives to continue managing, of course, and developing and continue growing the sport in our region. So we are in a growing phase. In my department at the moment, I just hired two new members of the club. There's another opportunity as well, which we are in need to because of the amount of competitions that we're going to have, the amount of games that we're going to have starting in August. Eventually, we're going to be running an international league. So we are expanding. I think, for those that actually are curious about CONCACAF, you can find all the information related to the Confederation at the website, concacaf.com. In the career section, you're going to be able to find out what are the current open positions that we have in CONCACAF, or if not, you can send me a note to me, and I can guide you through. I'll be more than happy. I received many inquiries about what's open and what we're doing, right? So what I can tell you is that for the amount of work that we're doing, we are, a fast-growing organization with a lot of potential, and of course, we are highly dependent on the human resources that are going to be joining the organization to continue growing the sport. So, and what are we looking for? Of course, that the values are aligned with ours, right? We're looking at people with football first mentality, okay, that really have that passion for the sport. But even if you don't know that much about the sport, which it could be the case, there's also other opportunities in other departments. In my specific area, of course, I'm looking for people that they have the good background when it comes to football, especially in our region, Central America, North America, and the Caribbean. And we're looking at with not just talented people, because of course there's a lot of talented people out there with great CVs, great educational background. But what I really like to cherish the most is the human element. The human quality. I think is for me more equally or more important than probably the CVs that I'm looking. And you can get a lot of that when you're doing an interview with a person, right? I always like to ask about their values and how they picture their first day in the office, or what are their expectations in regards to the work environment that they're going to be working in if they get the job.
So these people that currently joined your team, you're part of the interviewing process. At some point, you interview them as well.
Yeah. So the process for us, eventually, we have a lot of applicants. So pretty much it first goes through our HR department, human resources. Then they look into the CVs and they do the filtering. They first, of course, do the interviews. And once the department from HR conducts the interviews, then it comes to, the respective areas. In my case, it's the area of club competition. So I'll be interviewing it as well, and then one of my colleagues they get. So it's a pretty much 3-step process that the one that we have. It could be lengthier depending on the position, but eventually it's not just one person interviewing the candidate, but we look at different aspects, different kind of questions. So it's a 360 that we look into the potential candidate. Yeah.
Good stuff. There's another question here for you, Matias, from Vaibhav Singh. Says, Matias, can you please share some tips for freshers who want to work in sports, especially in the football industry, if they have a relevant degree in sport? In fact, because he mentioned about degrees, I actually want to add to that question is, what's the importance of formal education? You mentioned, obviously, that you did a master's. That was important for you. But is it super relevant? Is it needed? It's helpful? Maybe that way you can give a good idea to Vaibhav.
That's a great question. I believe that when I did the FIFA Master, it really triggered me to see the industry in a different way, to see the opportunities that are there, because eventually, with all the education, the knowledge that is being transferred during that year, which is fantastic, not only from professors, but from managers, directors that they're working in their fields and sharing their, the day-to-day activities. It's quite amazing, because then you see all the faces in the sports industry. So
And
I
even the
believe that,
classmates, right?
yeah, the classmates as well. And yeah, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop in the class. It's not in those four walls, but it's very rich of what you learn from your other classmates. In my case, we were 31, and I learned a lot. I probably learned equally from them as I learned from the professors, and as well the professionals that were coming to talk to us. So now, with that being said, I also think that, yes, that is a great platform, because then you're going to be able to find your direction in the sports industry. But at the same time, I like to say that you have to keep yourself with the education process, because I learn every day. I learn. I keep on learning from my colleagues. I keep on learning from what the leagues are doing, for what Federation is doing. It's very important that we keep our heads open to that, because with the new technology, the new processes, how the world is fast changing, it's very important that we keep ourselves up to date and with the latest. So it's in a way, yes, being humble and understanding that we still have a lot to learn, and that opportunities will come, and we have to be ready for them. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Vaibhav, I hope that answers your question. There's a comment from Jorge Moreno, and he's mentioning that obviously to work at CONCACAF in Miami or in the United States, you must be legally authorized to work in the country.
Yeah.
And it's the same, I mean, to work in some, any organization here in Switzerland, you must be authorized to work here as well. Sometimes, I mean, company can import people or maybe sponsor visas. But he asks if that doesn't go against the developments of the sports or the professional, because then it's restricted only to people that can work in the US. But I believe that you hire, CONCACAF also has other offices. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I that's a great point, and of course that's a reality of our organizations. Now, yes, we do have the HQ office based in Miami. However, we have the Central American office based in Guatemala, and as well we have our Caribbean office in Jamaica. So it's we have that opportunity, where if the migratory status is a constraint, then there's also other routes for you being able to work in the organization. And it happens. I mean, there are best practices as that we've seen. Some starts in the Central American office or the Caribbean office, and then they move to the HQ in Miami, or sometimes they start at HQ Miami and they go to this, one of our Caribbean or Central American offices. So at the end of the day, and I think that because of the pandemic, we noticed that it's kind of like irrelevant where you are physically located. Nowadays we get to travel, we get to even have this, interview with you in Europe. I'm here in the Americas, and the rest of the people from around the world. So kind of like we're breaking that barrier. So that's important to highlight.
Right.
Yeah.
Matias, I want to talk. So we talked before about your challenges, the main challenge that you had talking about COVID. What about achievements? I know that you have many. You've been Argentinian working at the World Cup. I mean, must have been a special.
Argentinian, American, Italian, eh?
Argentinian, American, Italian. Okay, exactly. But River Plate fan. So that
Yes, of
tells
course.
a lot about.
Yes. It's right here. It's right here. Yes.
But I'm going to ask you about your favorite sporting moments at the end. So save that. But in terms of professional achievements, what's would you say is the greatest or most impressive, the one that you really cherish?
Well, if I have to pick, eventually being able to launch this new Champions League, this baby that I've been nurturing for a couple of years, that's a huge achievement. This being like kind of like the long process, but the other one that for me was a dream coming true was the fact that being able to be part of the FIFA team that delivered the World Cup in Qatar. I was assigned as the FIFA match director at the Lusail Stadium. The Lusail Stadium is the one that hosted the most amount of games in that previous World Cup, with a total of 10 games.
10 games in 30 days.
10, yes, it was like 10 games in 30 days. Actually, we have the group stage where we had 11 days. We delivered 6 World Cup matches. So it was like very compact. Being able to be part of that team of those amazing human beings, which coincidentally I was able to share some experiences with even former alumni from the FIFA Master.
Classmates,
like classmates. Yeah, like it was amazing. Because one of my biggest dreams when I was a little kid was to first go and watch a World Cup, right? Witnessing a World Cup, but then being able to be part of it and work and in the function that I had is a truly dream come true. And on top of it, with the responsibility of delivering a World Cup final, right, in my capabilities. So that was I think one of the dreams coming true. Being able not just to work a World Cup, but also sharing that special moment with all the responsibility that entails in being part of the team that delivers a World Cup. So
Matias, I'm going to FIFA tomorrow, and I heard that you're the youngest match director or venue director at a World Cup final ever.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. Well, yes. With 36 years old, FIFA trusts me.
Great responsibility.
With that responsibility, I have to say that, of course, it's important to highlight that I was the only FIFA match director that was going into the World Cup with two events in Qatar. So I did the 2019 FIFA Club World Cup, which was my first experience in Qatar. Then I was called again to do the FIFA Arab Cup in 2021, and then eventually the FIFA World Cup. So I already know the culture in Qatar, which was amazing. And for me, it was diving in, as we call each other, with my Habibis there. It was a great experience, and I had a lot of fun and delivering for the first time ever in the Arab world the most important event in the world. So it was quite amazing, and those are memories that I will never forget. And of course, it's kind of surreal. It's very hard to then try to process where you're at the moment, but eventually there's so much in your head and too much going on that you're focusing in delivering and making sure that you are job at the day. But of course, it's hard to then not confuse your emotions because there's all the memories that come, and being there was quite special. So and I've been in this sports industry for more than 10 years, right? So it took me more than 10 years to actually being able to get there. That's why I always say that the patience factor and being able to adapt to the different circumstances is important, because if you keep your focus, if you keep your motivation, and your manifestations will become real.
Right. So, following on that topic, we have a question from Yara Abdallah in Egypt. What was your most challenging match to work during the World Cup in Qatar? Of those 10 matches, what was the most challenging one?
Every game, every match was special on its own. Every game has its own particular challenges, because that's the beautiful thing that we do, right? No matter how prepared you are, and yes, we do have all the process and protocols in place, but every game is different, right? And
but which one is more stressful, the first or the last one?
Well, for me, the first one, it was kind of stressful because I only had probably 2 or 3 hours of sleep because of the amount of work that we had. Woke up at 5 in the morning. We have a 1 p.m. kickoff time, local time in Doha. It was Argentina, Saudi Arabia, packed stadium, an amazing atmosphere. And we were, delivering for the first time a FIFA match, a FIFA event in that stadium. So that was probably very stressful in terms of the operations and putting the team together to deliver, the first game with FIFA standards, World Cup standards at Luceo. However, then if I have to pick, then the final on its own is I'll put it in another tier because it's the final, and there's so many other elements that come into play when it comes to the final, because you pretty much do one event within 6 events on its own, because you have the closing ceremony, the enhanced pre-match ceremony, then you have the award ceremony on its own, and there's 2 other elements that are coming into play. But when it comes to my position, I think the Netherlands Argentina was the most difficult one because of the rivalry that was generated ahead of the game, and of how the game was developed on the field of play, with the extra time, the amount of yellow cards. The 2 benches were very, very upset, very tense. So you're there and you need to manage those.
So what are your responsibilities there? So to explain to people so they're watching. So you're responsible for that match and doing what exactly? Because on the pitch we have the referee, and what are your main responsibilities?
So the function of the FIFA match director is pretty much you're representing FIFA to the eyes of the teams to ensure that all the the relations, the protocols, the guidelines established by the governing body are applicable, and they're respected by both teams, so even the laws of the game as well. So you're pretty much the owner of the the competition areas, and as well everything that happens on the field of play. Eventually, as you well said, Joao, the referee is in charge of the game, of everything that happens in the game. But my responsibility is to deliver the match, right? Making sure that the teams arrive on time, they get to the locker room, all the match officials, everybody's catered, that the competition areas are ready to go. And I think that of course, putting a live event, for those that have the experience, that the seconds count. So making sure that the official countdown is being followed, and that everything goes to perfection. Executing those games where we have millions of people watching it, and your performance is measured by the second, to make sure that the game actually kicks off on time. It takes a lot of work and a great team behind the scenes. Eventually, I'm the one that is kind of like directing the orchestra, but there's a lot of people, a village of staff that is also making it happen, and putting that together. It's part of the big task, right? Once you kick off the match, once you tell the referee when to kick off the match, then my position is in the 4th official bench, where I'm pretty much making sure that everything around the field of play is in good order, from the security standpoint, from the sportive standpoint, commercial and so forth. And I'm pretty much wired with the venue on my right ear. I have an earpiece that I'm connected with the VOC of the stadium, and I know what's happening, especially in my areas, with the assistant of the match coordinator, of course. And then on my left ear, I have a headset where I'm connected with broadcast, with infotainment, and providing all the official data to FIFA. So I confirm everything that is happening on the field of play, all the events. If there is a substitution coming in, I get to call it, so the broadcasts are ready to go. The official timing, when the goals are taking place, yellow cards, and all the specific events, right?
Cool. We didn't know about all these details.
And managing both benches too. And managing both benches, So
you're the one who needs to ask the coaches to be calm, because if they start screaming so much.
that's more of the responsibility of the fourth
The
official.
fourth,
But
the fourth
but
official.
sometimes you get yelled at. I understand the emotions. I have nothing. I don't take never nothing personal, especially at that time of the game. But through the fourth official, I can help. I can help them to manage the situation, and of course assist them with every. We make sure that we're playing with the laws of the game and under the regulations stated by the World Cup in this case.
Right, right. Well, with all that experience, if you were to pick a favorite sporting moment, what would that be?
Sportive moments.
You've been in many sporting moments. What your favorite one?
From the
I'm,
World
I'm
Cup per se.
I'm thinking of a World Cup, but maybe you have something linked to your club in Argentina or whatever. I'm asking you if you were to pick a favorite one, what would you be?
I'll say that
What would that
I'll
be?
say that the final was a very special moment. Seeing an entire team, what they achieve on the field of play, which I don't think they knew the impact and the repercussions that generate, because at the end of the day it's a football game, right? But you're playing at the world stage, and being able to be part of that, being able to work with France, being attentive to France, and being also attentive to Argentina, and interact with the players, and seeing the happiness of these players, these athletes, right? That they're in the peak of their careers, and cherishing and sharing that moment, and seeing in their faces like how thankful they are because of everything that we put in place for them and their families as well, and even the fans, of course, all those emotions that happen after that Montiel scored that final goal. It was quite impressive, and also being part of the award ceremony and being part of that unique moment, and what it means not only for everything that happened on the field of play, but also what it means for Qatar to being able to deliver a World Cup for the first time in the Arab world. It was outstanding, and you could hear all the comments that we got from the teams was outstanding. They all had an incredible experience. So I think that if I have to pick a moment, was I still have it very fresh in my mind. Let's talk about sports. It was when Leo Messi gave that 3-finger pass to to um to Alvarez, and then Alvarez passed it to McAllister, and McAllister gave it to Di Maria, and seeing that beauty there, where you can even smell the grass, being so close to the field, and seeing how everything is it's happening, was amazing. Also seeing the comeback from Mbappe, I think he's one of the best players in and we're lucky to witness that quality of a player. Not every player can score 3 goals in a final, and Mbappe did it. And also he scored then on a penalty kick. So seeing that quality of athletes, of players, it was amazing. And seeing the best player, what is considered the best player in the world, achieving his dreams.
Yeah.
It was, and then seeing his humbleness too, because even Messi at the highest peak, he was one of them. He was very humble, and it teaches you a lot, because everybody is like astonished of what he achieved with his career, but he's the most humble person that I deal with in my career too, and that's impressive. That's impressive.
Had you seen Argentina win before, or were you born in '86?
I was in my mom's tummy,
Ah, so this
I
makes
was.
it makes it even more special. It's funny because I asked you about your special sporting moments, and there's people giving their opinions here as well. So Francisco said, of course, must be Messi with the World Cup. And Trini Boy here also thinks of Del Potro beating Federer at
Also standing too. Yeah, I remember
US
that one as
Open.
well. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And what about the FIFA Master? Do you have a favorite memory from your time there?
Oof. Too many. I'll say too many. I really enjoyed it. you know me, Joao. I think what it's so nicely done. The fact that we start all together, randomly picked to live in a dorm in Leicester at the Montfort University, getting to know each other and building that camaraderie and that family was very nice. Because I'm, more of a sport guy. I really enjoy what we're also doing outside of the classroom. Being able to play against Leicester, being able to play football against FIFA, UEFA, and being able to have our mini tour, and bring this team together. We're not all football players, but we're training. We're like committed to it. We're committed to have a good time, and being able to be part of the team, and in a way being the team manager and organize those little trips
And
and learning
you had the
experience.
chance to you had the chance to do some work experience there too, no?
Yes, I did. Coming from that rugby background, I of course, when I was in England, I had the opportunity to work with the Leicester Tigers, which they're one of the best clubs from Europe. And then I was doing all game operations, and this is extracurricular. No? It was not part of the program with the masters, but I really want to make the most out of this experience, being in England for the first time and living it in there, knowing that they have this rich culture in rugby. I dive into it, and then I also joined the rugby team in Neuchâtel. So I played rugby for the Neuchâtel club alongside my roommate Philip Zimmerman. So we both play rugby together, and we
Yeah.
also get to play in Europe. So that was a great experience. It just shows you, right, that it's up to you to make the most out of your experiences, right? There's always opportunities there, and it's just like we are, privileged to be part of that 15th edition and make the most out of those opportunities. And I think also academically, what I really liked as well was the entire thesis project. Working
Hmm.
with diverse personalities. That was, I think, a great idea, and a great challenge as well, to put us together and work on the thesis. Which, in my personal thesis, we went against of what it was recommended by our mentor, because we were like talking about our thesis was discussing about the multi-city bid concept uh, for the Olympics, which we had also the privilege to share that with Emma, who is an Olympian at the time, and then she was also an inspiration for us, because she was training like I never seen anybody train like her, while she was doing the Masters, getting ready for Rio, and then of
100%,
course,
yeah.
and then she was able to achieve the gold medal, her dream, in the previous Olympics. So in
Yeah.
Tokyo 2020. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, 100%. Matias, we're getting, close to the hour here, so we're gonna finish soon. There is a
Yeah.
question from Vaibhav again. Not sure I understand. I think it's maybe incomplete. Um, I think when you're talking about the CONCACAF Champions League, all about that. Now he's asking if you think that financially it's going to be bigger than maybe Europe. I think that's what he means. Obviously, US has a big, potential financially, but again, I think there's a big lag there at the moment. But what do you think?
Yes, of course, that's our north. To be, of course, being able to provide the financial means to the clubs, and the exposure that they deserve, because there's huge potential here, and with the competition that we're putting in place, yes, we want to close that gap. That's our goal. So we have a lot of work ahead of us to close that gap, to make it competitive, and that's why we're devoted to what we're doing, because we truly believe in that, in making that gap, as you said, Joao, smaller, so we have even better football globally, right? At the end of the day, I think that the more competition we have, the better the quality of football will be. I mean, a great example, going back again, is this past World Cup. We never had the quality of football that we had in this Qatar World Cup, where we have representation of all the confederations in the round of 16, where there was not a single team that actually got a perfect score in the group stage of the competition. So that's showing you how football is actually globally being more competitive, and which also
Yeah.
making it more attractive. So that's the objective that we're going. And we have to go step by step. We have to go
Yeah.
step by
Yeah.
step. So that's part
Yeah.
of the work.
Matías, before we go, we got a message here from the legendary John Signer.
Yes.
Saying, love the rugby connection. Nice one, boys. John, great to see you here. He obviously works with rugby too. We've mentioned rugby a few times. He just did, again, an amazing event, the Tropical Sevens.
Yes.
Every Easter in Orlando, growing like rockets, going up. So congratulations.
Yes,
Much
and
love to you too, John.
it's important to highlight too that Miami is having their rugby professional club, and they're doing a lot of efforts to grow the rugby culture in the United States. It's quite encouraging how rugby is going to be growing in the U.S. And also we know that there's a World Cup around the corner. Of course, we have this year the World Cup in France. However, the next one will be played in the United States. So, I know that as we're doing in CONCACAF with football, rugby will do it as well with the World Cup coming up in 2017. Yes, no, 2027.
30.
Sorry, 2027 or 2030,
John,
right?
John, John, John just wrote here 2030.
2030. Yes. So, I mean, there's a lot of work to do there, John, to bring rugby, into this part of the world. I think that the fact that rugby is part of the Olympics, as part of the rugby sevens, as it started in the first edition in Rio de Janeiro in 2020 in 2016. Now we're gonna see that growth, right?
Yeah.
In this side of the world. So it's just a matter of time and we have to be patient because it's cultural, right?
Yeah.
All those former rugby players and families that they've seen that sport and they grow with it. We're gonna get to see more of that. So
And
it's nice
obviously,
to see that.
a nice thing about what John and Alex Proctor Pearson they do with Tropical Sevens is because it's a grassroots tournament. So they bring sort of young people from all over. So congratulations, man. Well
I used
done.
to I used to I used to play those. So I know that the tournament is very nice. It's very fun.
Cool. Listen, I think we got to go. Maybe I have one last question. I normally, unless I forget, I ask our guests to see if they would like to recommend a book or a podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever. Any tip like that that you would like to leave to the audience?
Yes, I would like to. I mean, what helped me too, and I've been reading lately, which is the last book that I read, is The Impossible Hill by Peter Tauten. It's more about discovering your unstoppable fire, destroying limits, and take the hills that are gonna be presented in your life. It's very nice. Uh, I get to meet him because he's one of my neighbors too. So I'm looking forward to get more about this person and more about what he's been doing because it's quite fascinating.
What's the name of the book?
Impossible Hill by Peter
Impossible Hill.
Tauten. Impossible Hill, yeah.
Cool. Thanks. I'll take notes
Yep.
and I'll try to grab it. Matias, before you go, any final message that you'd like to leave?
Yes, I would like to say to all of those that are watching and that are, of course, that have the privilege to be in the sports industry, that dreams come true. Follow your passion. Follow the same dream that actually make you choose this path. This career, because you are a life testament of your dreams, and I'm sure that in your positions, in what you're doing on a daily basis, you're moving not only the sport, but you're also changing lives. So it's achievable. Dreams come true, and it's just a matter of you and what you create in this world. And if you ever want to talk about football, rugby, reach out to me. I'm always open to have those conversations, and wish you all the best, and looking forward to continue growing this family of professionals that the FIFA Master is grooming, because you can see the human quality that the FIFA Master is like leaving behind. It's a great legacy, and it's very nice to see that.
Thanks, Matias. So don't go through anywhere before we, because I'm going to talk to you just after this. Before I go, I want to say to everyone that has been watching, still here with us, thank you so much for being here. We're probably going to be back here next week. I want to invite you again, if you want to join our community. We call that weworkinsport.com. There's a link in the description. And if you're interested in meeting recruiters from some of the biggest sports organizations in the world, so UEFA will be there, CAF will be there. So there's already 2 continental football confederations there. I'm going to give CONCACAF a call. Let's see if that will work out. But
we'll work it offline.
there is other sports. FIBA will be there. Equestrian Federation, agencies like Infront, like Team Marketing, several other companies. There's esports events. So check out iworkinsports.com/job fair 2. Matias, muchas gracias, amigo. Thank you so much.
Muito obrigado, Joao. Muito obrigado.
And bye-bye, everyone. Stay there, Matias. I'll talk to you in a second. See you next week, everyone. Ciao.